Sole proprietorship or corporation? Which one do you choose? What is up, guys? Welcome to the channel. Have you ever wanted to start that business and wanted to get it up and running, but just didn't know what the steps were or how to do it? Or maybe you had a side hustle and it's not actually legit and registered. Well, this is the channel for you. This is where we show you step by step on how to set up successfully a business today's day and age. All right, today's video is all about whether or not you should be a sole proprietorship or a corporation. We're gonna go through all the pros and the cons and what might be best for you. So the setup process. Well, sole proprietorship's super easy, very minimal paperwork. You kind of click of a button and you're off to the races. Where corporation, you're going to require some legal stuff along with accounting assistance, and there's a little bit more paperwork involved in the process of setting up a corporation, and it tends to cost a little bit more. So how's this look from a tax standpoint? Well, when you're a sole proprietorship, if you're only going to make a few extra bucks on your side hustle or your small business, this might be the route for you because it just falls under your personal income and you can easily file taxes that way. However, you got to be careful because if you do tend to make more money than expected, it might put you in a higher tax bracket and then you're going to get taxed more. So a corporation route might help you in that way. It'll help you defer some of the income so that way you can level out which tax bracket you're going to be. The downfall could be it's obviously a lot more costly doing income tax. You're really going to want to talk to your accountant and decide which route is going to be the best route for you before you actually go to register your business, either sole proprietorship or corporation. So how do you get paid? Well, through a sole proprietorship, as soon as the money hits your bank account, you can use it. But it's all taxable income at the end of the year, where in a corporation setting, you have some, call it incentives, that allow you to defer some money for taxes, but you're going to have to either pay yourself a salary and either pay yourself on a biweekly, monthly setting, or pay out dividends quarterly or at the end of the year. But either way, the corporation will help you move your money a little bit more strategic and help you at the end of the year on a tax side of things. Now, say your business is really taken off and it's growing. Well, on a sole proprietorship, you're so limited. So it prevents you from really growing your business to the fullest potential. But that's not the end of the world because you also have a benefit. If you start off as a sole proprietor, you can transition easily to a corporation, where it's the opposite way around. Going from a corporation to sole proprietorship has a lot more red tape. But in order to grow the business, if you expect to have a potential multi-six-figure business or a multi-seven-figure business, the corporation route is going to allow you so much flexibility growing the business. If you want to add a partner or even do profit sharing for investors down the road, that's going to be a lot easier to offer on a corporation level versus the sole proprietorship. And when you go to the banks, it's going to give you some more flexibility being a corporation and not a sole proprietorship. How does this look on an administration level? Well, sole proprietorship, very little. You might not require so many employees. So it's probably your better route. You could do your own bookkeeping, you could do all your own invoicing because the revenue stream is not going to be as high as potentially a corporation. Now, a corporation, you can still do all these things yourself, such as bookkeeping, general administration work. But where it gets a little bit more complicated is when you want to do some of those final tax filings where you're going to need a professional accountant to support you. So that's going to have a little bit more upfront cost on the administration side. And with a corporation, you may require some legal assistance. Like I said, if you're going to add a partner down the road or have shares, or maybe your business is getting a little bit more complex with the employee structure and you have to do some proper contract agreements. This is where a corporation can be a little bit complex and over the top for some people. Now, God forbid this was to happen to you. You have to close your business due to a bankruptcy or some legal issue. Well, being a sole proprietor leaves you extremely vulnerable. Creditors can come after you personally. If you owe money, they can get access to your bank accounts through the courts, and you're going to have to pay out something. You could lose your home to pay off the offset debts. This is where a corporation could come into your favor, because the corporation is going bankrupt. And as long as you didn't personally guarantee anything, creditors can only really go after the corporation because the deal was made with the corporation. Now, this does not exempt you from paying taxes. The government will always make sure that they get paid regardless. So you're always going to have to take that into consideration, that the tax man always wins. But the corporation route protects you a lot more in, say, a catastrophic situation such as this. Now, if it was just that the business wasn't working out for you and you just need to close it, well, sole proprietorship is super easy to close out. Where corporation, you're gonna have to pay your accountant some money to, close out the accounts and settle the taxes at the end of the year. However, you might get some tax exemptives because you're closing out the business, so it could work in your favor for that part. All right, final verdicts. Sole proprietorship. Easy paperwork, low startup costs, but there's no separation from you personally to the business, which actually leaves you very vulnerable. If you go the corporation route, well, if you're going to be very profitable and you expect to make multiple 6 figures to 7-figure business, that's the route to go. There is a lot more upfront cost to it. It does require a lot more attention to detail in the tax side of things, but it truly protects you on a lot of liability standpoints. Now, either way is going to be a good route. You're starting a business. You're doing something that you want to do. So whether you go sole proprietorship at the start, it's totally fine because you can transition yourself into a corporation if the business makes a lot more money. So it's not the end of the world whether you go sole proprietorship at the beginning and then transition to corporation. Now, same thing with corporation. Maybe you've had this ambition to be a multi-million-dollar business and you just realized, hey, I'm totally content just being a small, everyday business, and you want to go back down to sole proprietorship. It's a little costly, but it's definitely doable. So never feel like you're handcuffed to the decision you just made, because it can be reversed anytime down the road. Well, guys, that ends this video. Thanks so much for watching. Please comment down below. What route did you go? Did you go sole proprietorship or corporation? Or maybe you've already made your decision, and give some insight to the viewers as to what route you went down and if it benefited you. But also, guys, subscribe, hit the like button, help a brother out. And stay tuned to next video, because that is going to show you exactly how to register this business and some of the beneficial routes to take to registering that business. So stay tuned. Thanks for watching.